Welcome in, guys. Spooky Stories, March 3rd, 2023. Tonight we're going to be discussing the Mothman. So go ahead and relax, dim the lights down, grab yourself a smoke and a drink. We'll get started in about 5 minutes. Cheers. We'll be starting in a couple minutes, you guys. We're checking out the Mothman and the mysteries of the Mothman tonight. Pretty famous. About as famous as Slender Man. The Mothman has only been around since the 80s. Pretty awesome. Excuse me. Let's get into this. Let's get wrapped up here. is the story of the Mothman. How come my screen is so dark? Alright, we'll start in about 1 minute. Alright, you guys, let's get into this. Tonight we will be discussing the Mothman. Now, as we do it every week, every episode, all I do is gather basic information, gather some pages together. I don't like to know everything about this before we get into it. So this is all new to me too as well. Okay, if I can get my mouse to work here. So let's see here. I've heard about the Mothman. I don't know much about it. Really not much at all. Just that some winged creature like a man. That's all I know about. So this could be very interesting to get into this and get to the details of the Mothman. So let's check it out. Okay. Mothman is supposed to look like that. And also a statue. Here's a statue of the Mothman. And there's another picture of the Mothman. Like that. Supposed to be a winged creature with big moth wings with red glowing eyes. Like, okay, that'd be scary enough. Alright, let's check it out. Let's check out the legend. On November 12th, 1966, in Clendenin, West Virginia, a group of gravediggers working in a cemetery spotted something strange. They glanced up from their work as something huge soared over their heads. It was a massive figure that was moving rapidly from tree to tree. The gravediggers would later describe this figure as a brown human being. Here's a little creature there. It's supposed to be, the body's supposed to be the size of a man, and the wings would be about 8 feet tall. It's a pretty big, scary creature. This was the first reported sighting of what would come to be known as the Mothman, an elusive creature that remains as mysterious as it was on the night that a few frightened witnesses first laid eyes on it. The legend of the Mothman of Point Pleasant. So I guess that's where he first got sighted, was Point Pleasant. The small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, along the banks of the Ohio River. Okay. Right on the river of West Virginia, a little small town. Just 3 days after the gravediggers' initial report, in nearby Point Pleasant, West Virginia, two couples noticed a white-winged creature about 6 or 7 feet tall standing in front of the car that they were sitting in. Eyewitnesses Roger Scarberry and Steve Mallett told the local paper, the Point Pleasant Register, that the beast had bright red eyes about 6 inches apart, a wingspan of 10 feet, and the apparent urge to avoid the bright headlights of the car. According to witnesses, this creature was able to fly at incredible speeds, perhaps as fast as 100 miles an hour. All of them agreed that the beast was a clumsy runner on the ground. Wow, that'd be... holy moly. Holy moly, maybe it was so strong like a hummingbird it could just fly that fast. Man, it's incredible. That's true. But they said it's clumsy on the ground. They knew this only because it allegedly chased their vehicle to the outskirts of town in the air, then scuttled into a nearby field and disappeared. Knowing how absurd this must have sounded to the local paper in a small Appalachian community in the 1960s, Scarberry insisted that the apparition couldn't have been a figment of his imagination. He assured the paper, "If I had seen it while myself, I wouldn't have said anything, but there were 4 of us who saw it." Okay, so 4 people saw it. That's a lot. That's a lot of people to see something and for it not to be real. I mean, four's a pretty good number of people to be like, yeah, that's pretty solid. Unless you got 4 liars, but probably not. At first, reporters were skeptical. In the papers, they called the Mothman a bird and a mysterious creature. However, they did print Mallett's description. It was like a man with wings. And we don't have any birds that big that really fly around. I mean, maybe like a stork or something, but we really don't have birds that big flying anywhere near cities or anywhere where man lives, as far as I know. Maybe like condors. Some birds could get big, but I don't know about the glowing red eyes. The suits they say here. But more and more sightings were reported in the Point Pleasant area over the next year as the legend of the Mothman took shape. The Gettysburg Times reported 8 additional sightings in a short span of 3 days after the first claims. This included 2 volunteer firefighters who said they saw a very large bird with large red eyes. Like, dang. Newell Partridge, a resident of Salem, West Virginia, claimed that he saw strange patterns appearing on his television screen one night, followed by a mysterious sound outside his home. Shining a flashlight toward the direction of the noise, Partridge supposedly witnessed 2 red eyes resembling bicycle reflectors looking back at him. This anecdote remains a popular one in the Mothman mythos, especially since it allegedly led to the disappearance of Partridge's dog. To this day, some still believe that the fearsome beast took his beloved pet. That's messed up. Okay, a crane. So some are saying the crane is a popular explanation for the Mothman legend, but I don't know. It's got that red eye there, but it wouldn't reflect red. It wouldn't be glowing red, Like a cat's eyes will reflect light at night, but it's not a color, Interesting. Dr. Robert Smith, an associate professor of wildlife biology at West Virginia University, dismissed the notion that a flying monster was staking out the town. Instead, he attributed the sightings to a sandhill crane, which stands almost as tall as the average man and has bright red flesh around its eyes. This explanation was compelling, especially given the number of early reports that had described the creature as bird-like. Some people hypothesized that this crane was deformed, especially if it resided in the TNT area, a name that locals gave to a series of nearby bunkers that were once used for manufacturing munitions during World War II. It had been suggested that these bunkers have leaked toxic materials into the neighborhood, the wildlife preserve, affecting nearby animals. Okay, so they think it might be so some guy here is like, it's probably a mutated crane. Okay, thanks to the government. Alright, that's great. That's not any better. There's the TNT area right there. I'm going to bring it onto the screen more here. Hold on 1 second, you guys. Okay. The theory posits that when the national press ran with the Mothman story, people who lived in the Point Pleasant area began to panic. Locals became convinced that they were seeing the Mothman and birds and other large animals even long after the prankster had given up on the joke. It's worth noting that the Mothman legend bears a resemblance to several demon archetypes found amongst those who have experienced sleep paralysis, which may suggest that the visions are nothing more than an embodiment of typical human fears, pulled from the depths of the unconscious and grafted into real-life sightings. Okay. So I think it might be in your mind. All sorts of different theories. And then we have the Silver Bridge collapse. Okay. What is that about? On December 15th, 1967, just a year after the first Mothman sighting, traffic was bad on the Silver Bridge. Originally built in 1928 to connect Point Pleasant to Gallipolis, the bridge was packed with cars. This placed a strain on the bridge, which had been built in a time when cars were lighter. Okay, so now the cars are heavier. So a bunch of cars on the bridge, and the bridge failed. So on the cold December day, the bridge failed. The chain snapped, the bridge fell to pieces. Cars and pedestrians fell into the icy water of the Ohio River. 46 people died. Holy crap. 46 people died by drowning or being crushed by the wreckage of Silver Bridge. Following the Mothman sightings, the bridge collapse was the second terrible, bizarre thing to put Point Pleasant on the map in a year's time. So it didn't take long for some to connect it to. Okay. I don't see how the Mothman is responsible. I mean, you had too many heavy cars on the bridge. It was made for Model Ts. It was made in 1928, so it's not made for... There's too many cars on the bridge, and I can't be blaming that on the Mothman. No, that's not fair. Alright, let's check it. No conclusion. They don't even say why. They don't even say why he's responsible for the bridge collapse. They're just like blaming it on him for nothing. Like, okay, they didn't even say he was at the bridge collapse. Okay. So we'll move on to the next one here. History students. In mid-November 1966, in the small town of Point Pleasant, two young couples fled the woods, claiming they'd seen a terrifying creature. They recounted their story to the sheriff and said that it looked human except for its 10-foot wings and glowing red eyes. They put that in the paper. Okay, let's see if we can get any new facts about this. We're going to go through about 7 different articles because each article has different facts about the situation. It ran the paper. How did it go from big? How did it go get internationally recognized? Jonathan Glitter. Okay, he just finished a paper. Oh, this is way too long of stuff. So for about the first year in Point Pleasant, they had the sightings of the Mothman. And then it started getting noticed around different places in the United States. Let's see here. So only one. So it looks like only the 4 people saw this thing in the headlights. It flew around. It's not really explaining any other sightings of this. Looks like people went out looking for it. People went out hunting for it to find it. And stealing. Might have stole that one guy's dog. One guy's dog is missing, so might have stole the guy's dog. Okay. Another account tells of a German shepherd named Bandit who bolted into the woods after two glowing red circles. Partridge said he looked for Bandit but found nothing but paw prints going in circles and then vanishing. So that was the guy who lost his dog. So the dog just disappeared. They still don't say why they're blaming the Mothman on the Silver Bridge collapse. Okay, recently, 2019 accounts of a flying moth creature in Chicago restoked the craze. Okay, yeah. Case of the Chicago Mothman. Okay, so we got a Mothman sightings in Chicago, 2019. Got a couple books on the Mothman. It's never been fully solved or proven as to what these people were seeing. That's what it says. And no evidence. Looks like no footprints or anything. Got no footprints or physical evidence. We're going to go through something that has 7 different encounters, though. We'll go through that in a second. Let's see if we can get out some more interesting facts on this Mothman. Doesn't seem to be a lot of information on this guy. Hold on one second. Let me check chat real quick. Not much information on this guy. We're going to go through something that's got 7 different encounters. And so we'll see what they have to say on that. Not as scary as the creepy dolls, though, for me. I have to say that I'd be a lot more scared of a creepy doll, haunted doll, than the Mothman right now, at this point. Alright, let's look here. What's up with my scary music here? Okay, 7 chilling Mothman encounters. Some say it's a giant bird. Some say it's imagination. Some say it's a deformed and retarded crane. Who knows? Who knows? Alright, here we got, let's check out these sightings. Chernobyl. This is going through 7 different sightings. Chernobyl. A horrid humanoid with enormous wings, a black headless body, and red glowing eyes that sent a message of doom to anyone who saw it rose above the horizon of Chernobyl and Pripyat. Several employees in the Chernobyl... Oh, what? Get off of there. Several employees in the Chernobyl nuclear power plant's control room in the days before the disaster claimed to have seen the thing known as the Blackbird of Chernobyl. What? That's even a thing? The Blackbird of Chernobyl? Have you guys heard of that? The Blackbird of Chernobyl? This nuclear plant is located in northern Ukraine. Those unlucky enough to witness the creature reportedly experienced terrifying dreams and ominous phone calls. What? This thing like calls you? This thing's got a cell phone? This thing's got an iPhone, an unlimited plan calling you at your house. I'm like, don't be calling me late at night, fucking Mothman. Others maintain that the Chernobyl Blackbird was a variation of the mythical Mothman, whose appearance always precedes the impending catastrophe. The 86 Chernobyl disaster was brought on by defective reactor design. That's right. We know about that. Yep, and it's a radiological disaster. So they said he showed up there, showed up at Chernobyl. Huh. Alright. There's a little Chernobyl area, all abandoned. Silver Bridge. Now that's where what we just went over in Point Pleasant. Yeah, after hearing a rustle in the trees, the 5 gravediggers looked up and saw a flying man above them. And that's the guys that said that it flew at 100 miles an hour, but that it ran on the ground terrible, that it did not run good on the ground. But then there was the other couple that saw it in its car's headlights, so that's only 2 that we know about. A large bird with red eyes was described by 2 volunteer firemen between 1966 and 67. Okay, Point Pleasant was the subject of at least 100 reports from people. 100 reports in that area, huh? And in that year, it seems like. 500 phone calls were made to hire a reporter covering the Mothman sightings at the time. And then a year after that, the Silver Bridge collapsed, killing 46 people, and they blamed that on the Mothman. But the Mothman did not appear then, so that's a bunch of bull. There's the Mothman right there. Yeah, it'd be kind of freaky seeing that at night. Who knows? I mean, who knows what the government underground labs, deep underground military bases, who knows the stuff that they've created? Who knows? Maybe some stuff got loose. Mothman saves lives. Wow. In 1978, a group of miners in Germany came face to face with an object blocking the entrance to the mine that appeared to be headless and had glowing red eyes on its chest. Like, what? God, that's weird. They believed it to be a man wearing a trench coat, but they soon realized it was a set of enormous black wings that had spread out. The miners remained at the mine entrance dumbfounded and stared at the creature until it let out a spine-tingling screech that caused them to rush outside. The men witnessed a seismic rumble and dust plume shooting from the mine, and it collapsed an hour later. Most of the men would have perished if they had arrived at their station in the mine as usual. They believed that the Freiburg Shrieker may have saved their lives. Huh. So they're saying that maybe that scared them out of the mine, and then the mine collapsed, so it saved their lives. Huh. Swine flu. Some people think the fabled Mothman was the large, hairy, red-eyed creature in La Junta, Mexico. Residents started stalking the area in 2009. The sightings happened just before Mexico experienced its 2009 swine flu outbreak. The creature's screeches could be heard coming from an apple orchard close to Miaca Cemetery. 2 witnesses, Angela Mendez and Viviana Ledesma, were filled with utter terror as they heard it. So on the evening of March 6, 2009, a student claimed that the Mothman chased him for 15 minutes. Okay, so possible Mothman in Mexico. 2009, chasing around a few people. Local authorities made every effort to track it down, but they couldn't locate any signs of it. And so far, no evidence. Other encounters. Several people reported seeing a black-winged creature flying close to the Twin Towers in the days preceding the terrorist attacks on 9/11. They saw it flying parallel to the plane. Witnesses saw a creature flying parallel to the plane as the second plane crashed. Huh. Then in the days that followed, those who reported seeing the beast allegedly encountered men in black who warned them to keep their stories to themselves. Whoa. That's crazy. Beginning in 1926, reportings of a figure resembling the Mothman flooded a region in southeast China. The locals called it the Man Dragon, and it was hovering over a dam. And then a flood struck the villages, bringing disaster. Okay, and Japan experienced a tragedy in 2011. Oh yeah, the tsunami, the Japanese tsunami. And it said that there were reports of the Mothman sightings in that 2011 tsunami in Japan. Huh, Fukushima. I haven't heard about that. I haven't heard about that. Anyone who gets a good look at the Mothman seems to experience severe anxiety and psychological distress, which can sometimes linger for months or years. People specifically claim that when they look into Mothman's eyes, they're overcome with a sense of pure evil. Like, oh wow, well the red eyes, maybe, man, maybe, maybe that's gonna be something super evil, dude. Any proof of Mothman being real? A few images have been mistaken for Mothman, but there's yet to be any convincing physical or photographic evidence to support it. Yeah, this is not elusive. Mothman is very elusive. Very elusive here. Ode. Hold on, I'm gonna refill my beer real quick. Be right back. One second. Hey guys, so far we got some sightings, but not a lot of evidence. It doesn't look like the Mothman has attacked anybody or scratched anybody. Nobody's been scratched or hit, or the Mothman hasn't flown down and taken anybody up. It just seems like it's scary. It looks like if you look into its eyes, it causes you're gonna have problems and distress, but nobody's been killed or touched by this thing. It's just like spooky, and it looks like it's synonymous with disasters, with a dam collapse or different things, Chernobyl, Fukushima. So it's around disasters days before, and also after and during. So who knows? But I haven't seen any reports of that, like solid reports, and no pictures, no cell phone footage. So we're not getting a lot on this guy. I'm still most scared of haunted dolls rather than this Mothman. I'm not super scared of Mothman. But I guess if I was out there in the woods or somewhere, I saw a Mothman, I'd probably have to run. Alright, let me check chat real quick. Googly, good to see you in here. Yeah, especially he's supposed to be headless. So his eyes, he's got big glowing red eyes on his chest. But he's man sized. He's man sized tall but with no head. You're like, oh great. So let's see here. What other encounters have we seen here? It said, okay. Okay, the couple that saw it in the headlights. They saw it 6 7 feet tall. Okay, the creature followed. Though a clumsy runner, as they saw at the power plant, it excelled in gliding, keeping even pace, even as the car reached 100 miles an hour. So that we did not know before. So they drove away 100 miles an hour, and it said it was easily keeping pace with the car, and also gliding, but probably beating its wings, easily doing 100 miles an hour along with the car. That would be scary. Like what? Because that's pretty dang fast. But you know, for some big birds, that's pretty possible. That's pretty possible. Okay, hunting rifles. Yep, the town prepared. The town was the town was on alert with guns and stuff. Let's see if we can find any new information. Yep, Chicago Mothman 2019. Yeah, we went through that. We saw that already. Not a lot about this guy. Not a lot of info. Seen him driving at night. Some say the creature is either bad luck or causing disasters. There's the bridge right before the collapse. But still, they didn't. It was not like the Mothman was standing on the bridge and the bridge collapsed. There was too many cars on the bridge. That's why the bridge collapsed. I'm not gonna let them blame it on the Mothman, you guys. That you can't just be blaming bridge collapses on the Mothman just because you didn't build the bridge strong enough. There's too many damn cars on the bridge. Point Pleasant is the primary destination to see the Mothman. They got a statue up of it. Here's the statue. There's the statue right there. Pretty nice, shiny steel statue. It's pretty awesome. I'm gonna go see that. But nothing else on that. Okay. Okay, that's a lot. That's like a whole essay of stuff. Mothman statue. Yep. Alright, we're running to the end of this. We don't have a lot of information on the Mothman here. Cryptozoology. So this would be cryptozoology, which would be the study of unknown, like alien life forms or whatnot, unknown life forms. Cryptozoology is a pseudoscience that works to prove the existence of entities from folklore and legends. It is considered an illegitimate field of study by most scientists and academics. Man, cool though, cryptozoology. Legends like La Llorona, Jersey Devil, the Chupacabra. Maybe next we'll do the Chupacabra or Slender Man. Next week we'll do something like that. But I just didn't see much information on here on Mothman. It was seen primarily in the small town of Point Pleasant in 1966, and then after that a bunch of times. A bunch of encounters in this town for like 100 or more encounters in this town, this area for the first year, and then it looks like it spread out after that So maybe the Mothman procreated and they had little Mothman babies and they spread out to different states. Or maybe the Mothman can just self-produce itself. Who knows? Okay, alright, here we got another story. Newell Partridge. He said that's the guy who lost his dog. He said that a weird pattern filled the screen of his TV and he heard a loud whining sound from outside that raised in pitch and then ceased. His dog Bandit began to howl out on the front porch and Newell went out to see what was going on. He walked outside, saw Bandit facing the hay barn about 150 yards from the house. Partridge turned a flashlight in that direction and spotted two red circles that looked like eyes or bicycle reflectors. The moving red orbs were certainly not animal eyes, he believed, and the sight of them frightened him. Bandit, an experienced hunting dog, shot off across the yard in pursuit of the creature. Partridge turned and went back into the house for his gun, but then was too frightened to go back outside again. He slept that night with his gun propped up next to the bed. The next morning he realized Bandit had never come home. Oh man. Well, I definitely wouldn't have gone back to sleep and let my dog just handle that. Like I would have been like, "Where's my dog?" No, I wouldn't have let my dog. I wouldn't have abandoned my dog. How could he do that? Hell no. I would not have abandoned my dog. I would have made sure my dog came back to the house. Hell yeah, are you kidding me? The dog had not shown up 2 days later when Partridge read in the newspaper about the sightings in Point Pleasant that night. Later, when Partridge was reading the newspaper, he came upon a very chilling story. Scarberry, one member of the group who spotted the strange bird at the TNT plant, said that as they entered the city limits of Point Pleasant, they saw the body of a large dog lying on the side of the road. On their way back out of town, they noticed the dog was gone. Having just drove past the body, they got out of the car to look for it, but found nothing. Newell Partridge immediately thought of Bandit, who was never seen again. Oh man, so it looked like it got the dog. On November 16th, a press conference was held in the courthouse, and the couples from the TNT plant recounted their story. The deputy took it seriously, and then the sightings got spread around the world from there. The remote and abandoned TNT plant became the lair of the Mothman in the months ahead, and it could not have picked a better place to hide in. The area is made up of several hundred acres of woods and large concrete domes where high explosives were stored during World War II. Much of the property was almost inaccessible, and something could easily have hidden it for weeks or months and remained completely unseen. Okay, sounds like an interesting property. Many came to believe that the sightings of Mothman, as well as UFO sightings and encounters with men in black in the area, were all related. For nearly a year, strange happenings continued in the area. Okay, so it sounds like a lot of stuff happened. That doesn't sound like coincidence. It sounds like a lot of stuff happened for a year in this town. And I don't know if it stopped, but it sounds like a lot of stuff happened in this town for a year and then it slowed down and this looks like it went out globally. Let's see what we got here. By the end of 1967, most of the sightings had come to an end and Mothman had faded from people's minds. Okay. So by 1966 to 1967 was the Mothman pinnacle. Mothman, okay. So we don't have any, we just don't have, we don't have shit for proof, man. We have no physical evidence, no nothing. Nobody's been picked up from the ground. We got a missing dog. We just have no evidence. Nobody's been scratched. Nobody shot this thing. We have no blood from it. Um, we don't know how strong. We know this thing flies over 100 miles an hour. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Mothman. It looks like it didn't steal anybody, but then again, I mean, maybe if someone's missing, you don't know why they're missing. Maybe someone was walking down the road somewhere, right, and Mothman swooped down and grabbed them, and they're just missing and nobody knows. So they're just another missing person. So maybe Mothman has swooped down and taken people, and we just don't know it because they're just normal missing people. But it looks like Mothman took the dog. But we have no evidence here. We have less evidence for Mothman than we do for Bigfoot. We're gonna investigate Bigfoot too as well. We're gonna have to go over Bigfoot. Next week though, I think we're gonna do Slender Man. Yeah, some people are saying that psychosis, but no, I don't. It looks like this little town was terrorized for a month, or for a year. Yeah, I don't know. A huge lack of evidence. Huge lack of evidence here. Well, that's all we got on the Mothman. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Looks like just not a lot of evidence. Looks like some. You would think, during Chernobyl and whatnot, and 9/11, you'd think we'd have some sort of pictures or video or something of this thing. We don't have any strong evidence of the Mothman. I don't like it. And no physical encounters as far as physical contact. Nobody's been scratched or beaten. Nobody's been taken up into the air. Nobody's fought the Mothman. Nobody's shot the Mothman. So, I mean, surely we can get some sort of video or photographs or a thermal camera, something like that. If there's been encounters and then maybe SEAL teams, then that's maybe, secured information, government. But otherwise, I mean, the public has not had any contact with this guy other than seeing it and looking into those eyes, which looks like it's not good. But still, I'm more scared of the haunted dolls, honestly. If I see the Mothman, I'm gonna shoot at it. That's all I'm saying. If I see Mothman, I will just shoot you. Alright, you guys, we're just gonna wrap it up then. Kind of a short episode, but not much information on the Mothman. That's how it is. It's elusive. Left us with no evidence. Nothing. Didn't even swoop down and steal a baby or nothing. We got one missing dog. We got one missing dog on the road. That's it. Mothman, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you be so elusive when we're looking for you? Hunters, we'd like to shoot you and put you on display on the National Enquirer. We want to run your blood, test your blood, see how you fly. Just a few tests. Just a few tests, Mothman. Don't worry, we'll keep you alive. We need you alive. Alright, Googly, I guess we're getting out of here. Short episode on the Mothman here. But it's good. I knew nothing about the Mothman, so. And I guess there's just not a lot of information on him either, so. That's how it is. That's how it is. But anyway, thank you all for coming out, enjoying this episode as we inquire into the Mothman. Next week, we'll check out, I think we're going to do Slender Man. Slender Man is a little bit more interesting of a story. People have actually killed people in the name of Slender Man. So we'll go over that. We'll go over that. Slender Man's pretty scary. So big, tall, spooky guy with no face or something like that. Alright, but anyway. Alright, you guys. Thanks for coming out. I'll see you next episode next Friday. We'll see what we have. I don't know. Until then, you better leave a light on at night. Watch out. Mothman's looking in your window with the red eyes. Watch out. Mothman.